Hello and welcome to Ask Mama Amy, a podcast promoting practical advice and resources for strong mothers. I'm your host, Amy Shao, single mom and estate planning attorney and founder of Shao Law. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to have Christine Lee today with us. Christine is the founder and managing director of Casa Companion Homecare Solutions. We're so happy to have you here, Christine.
Thank you so much, Amy. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Christine, can you go ahead and tell us who you are, and how many kids you have and how old are they? And just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Christine Lee, and I have 3 kids. My husband, Gabriel, and I have 3 daughters, all under the age of 5. So my oldest daughter, Nora, is 5, and Leah is 3, and I have my youngest daughter, Cynthia, who is 1.
They're all under 5.
Yes.
And that managing 3 kids and a husband and managing a business.
Yeah, it's a hurricane most of the time, but it's fun.
Yeah, and so I have known Christine for many years, and to me, Christine has just come across as a really strong woman and strong mom, having to handle everything. And so I'm curious, with all the 3 kids, since becoming a mom, has there ever been a time point where you just felt like, you know what, I'm at the breaking point? And was there ever a challenge moment? And what was that? And how did you come out of it?
Yeah, well, I would say that, okay, I mean, gosh, there's so many challenges every day, right? But in terms of, motherhood, like probably one of the most challenging decisions and just obstacles that I've gone through actually started very early on, right when I found out I was pregnant. Really, it was in 2015. Gabriel and I just found out that we were pregnant with our first child. May of 2015, we were super excited, really happy. And then 2 weeks later, I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer just 2 weeks after that. And so it was, after a breast cancer diagnosis, it's just a crazy whirlwind, right? You don't really know. There's so many doctor's appointments and scans and things that are supposed to happen. But because I was pregnant, a lot of that didn't happen. I had to go through I had to get a mastectomy during that time. While I was pregnant, I was about 8 weeks pregnant at the time. So it was just crazy. And, needing to make a decision about whether or not, because, once you get pregnant, you can't get a PET scan, you can't get any type of scans, right? And so no x-rays, anything. And so we really didn't know how far the cancer had progressed, if it had spread anywhere. And so it was basically like 9.5 months of waiting, really, to find out, health prognosis and all of that. And so that was a really, to start off motherhood in that way was really challenging.
Oh gosh, I can't imagine how you
Yeah.
then handled it, because you had no idea whatsoever
Right.
before you found out, right? About the cancer.
Right. Yeah. We found out we were pregnant. We were so happy. And then 2 weeks later, diagnosis came. Right.
Yeah, and so the whole emotional hurdle having to go through that, and thankfully, you have a husband who was very supportive.
He is.
And
Yes.
would you say that that was a main source of support to kind of get through that time period?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. It
yeah.
was key.
Yeah. And then with having to go through all the, dealing with it, with the expecting a new baby and just the emotional hurdle of that, how were you able to sort of adjust yourself emotionally, to also take care of yourself and to handle all these medical examinations and then also take care of yourself? Because as a pregnant mom, you have to always stay like healthy and emotionally healthy as well.
Completely. Well, and I think that was the focus, at that point it was like, okay, what's in my control? There's so many things. There's this big unknown, and I'm not going to find out until after, I give birth of, how I am health wise. And so that was a really big part of it. Is actually my oncologist called it Sophie's Choice. If you're familiar with that movie, of a mom having to make a really difficult decision. But he just said, this is considered Sophie's choice, because, you have to decide, do you want to keep this pregnancy? Do you really want to have this baby, knowing that this could affect your health, because you have several months of not doing anything about this cancer. You have to wait. And so, Yeah, I guess to answer your question, I mean, like, how did I balance myself? I think it's like I just really focused on what I could, and what I could was just making sure I had a healthy pregnancy, making sure I did whatever I could to just keep myself mentally healthy, physically healthy at that time.
Wow. So
Yeah.
in a way, would you say that the pregnancy in and of itself actually kind of holds you together in a way? Like
Yeah,
because you wanted to
absolutely.
stay
Yeah,
healthy?
just yep, of
Oh,
course, of course. Yeah, and she still does,
uh-huh.
my oldest Norton, I think you've met her, Amy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you have, but yeah, she's a joy. And so she's always been that light ever since we found out that we were gonna have her.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And then several years later, then you have your second one.
Every 2 years, yeah. So
You're on a mission.
right, right. Yeah. And so, and that was a blessing in itself because, after a cancer diagnosis, you're not really sure, how things were going to go. And I started having kids later in life. I was,
Yeah.
my oncologist called it advanced maternal age when you're in your late 30s already. So I guess that's considered advanced maternal age. And so, yeah, so we really wanted to have, we both come from big families. We wanted to have, definitely a few kids, and now we're done.
No, you're not. You finally shifted. So back then, how did you decide? So you said because you have a big family, and since the
Yeah.
first one came out good, then the second one, then you decide, okay, why don't we give it another try? And then there's a third one, right?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I come from, I'm the youngest of four, so I have three older brothers. Gabriel has a sister, but big Filipino family. He's a Mexican and Chinese family. So we just have big
Oh,
families, right? And so we knew that we just wanted to have a bunch of kids around us. That's we love that. That's kind of both of our style. And he's a
mhm.
really, really great dad. He's a good girl dad. To have three daughters, he's excellent with the girls.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I know Gabriel is just such an amazing person.
Yeah.
Like his personality is just amazing. With three girls though in the
Yeah.
household.
Yeah.
It's like how do you manage like the kids, they're all under 5 and to balance that also with your business because your business is really successful and thriving and there's a lot of management to handle. And
Right.
so how would you balance or the family life and the work life?
I think it's just kind of one of those things. It's just like anything else. Like as women, I think when you're in the position, you just do, right? You just kind of get things done. And I think I'm that type of person that it's like I know that I have things on my plate and I'm just the type just I execute, and you just kind of get things done. But really the biggest important thing is that I'm very blessed to have a really, really, really supportive husband. I come from speaking of, I know that this podcast is about moms, but I come from a family. I grew up with a single mom, and like I said, she had four kids. I have three older brothers, and so she did it by herself. And I think that I have these three girls, right? I have three girls, and I'm doing this every day. We talk about how hard it is. There isn't a day that goes by that Gabriel and I don't look at each other and like, man, this is so hard, right? But it's hard work, but I have somebody very supportive to do it with. And so I'm so kind of in awe of women that don't have that type of support and still do it by themselves, like my mom did. And so how do I balance it all? I think that we are just good partners, and we just know what we have to do together.
Mhm. And you probably having observed your mom raising you guys as single
Yeah,
moms, you saw her strength. And would you say you
absolutely.
inherited that strength?
She is definitely a very good role model for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the business that you're doing now provides so much help to our local community. So tell us more about your business. What do you do to help the local community?
Sure. So I have a company called Casa Companion Home Care, and it's a home care organization. We provide caregivers that go into the homes of our clients all over San Diego County. And our clients consist of people, the elderly, individuals that have disabilities. So people that just need help remaining at home. And our caregivers provide them with help with anything related to, it could be companionship, personal care, just
Mm.
anything that they need to be able to remain at home safely and independently. So we could help them with bathing and showering and toileting, or really anything that comes along with getting older, right? A lot of our clients have diseases like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. ALS, things like that. So we really help the clients, but primarily, typically when I get a phone call, I'm usually getting a phone call from like a son or a daughter that is, asking for help for their mom or dad.
And
Yeah,
I
we started in
understand.
2013. We've been in business since 2013 and cover all of San Diego County. And so when I started the business, I didn't have kids at the time, and so a lot has happened over the past several years. It was, business started, grew, got married, started a family, and you know, cancer, all of those other things. And so it's been a full life since
Sounds like a full life
2013.
circle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Get all your
yeah.
experiences under your belt.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's been a full life for the past, since 2013. It's been pretty crazy. Yeah. And prior to
uh,
that, I was in the corporate world and quit that job to start, become an entrepreneur. And it's been an adventure. It's been a good one, really good one.
yeah, and I understand that you're a sandwich generation. So you also have aging parents that you are helping with. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and you're helping me with that too. That is part of
Uh,
our dynamic relationship together, is that, you're actually
they're
my
they're
attorney and also my
amazing.
parents' attorney now too. So yeah, so I'm trying to navigate because of the type of work that I do. I know what's involved in terms of, getting ready for long-term care, and so I'm at that point where I'm trying to get my parents ready to make sure that they age in place where they want to be. And so trying to get them financially set up and all of the things, and legally set up to do all of those things well.
Mhm.
So, I'm fortunate to have the knowledge that I have, because I know that I need to plan early for that. And I think that's it's an unfortunate circumstance for a lot of people that aren't aware of all of the steps that need to happen prior to that. And so, that's why what you do is so wonderful, because you help people with that. And so luckily I have you, you're helping me with my parents too.
I'm so honored to be helping them. Yeah, because of what you do, you understand
Right.
the things that the seniors would have to face. And with adequate planning, they could totally be in a much better position than not planning.
Right, exactly, exactly. So yeah, just helping them with like the legal and the financial stuff, like it's how much is this going to cost in order to, maintain the rest of your life, plan for long-term care. It's really important. So that's what I'm trying to help my parents do now. And um,
Mhm.
yeah, and typically, we get so many phone calls from, when people are calling my business asking like, oh, so how much does this cost? I think a lot of people are kind of shocked
Mhm.
over, that things aren't typically covered by insurance, or it's not covered by Medicare. And so there's a lot of education, that goes along with aging and just long-term care planning in general.
Yeah, because the average cost would be 10,000 minimum, like a month, right? Even more than.
Yeah, it's getting to be more expensive for people that want to stay at home. I mean, there's a big difference. And so, for example, if you want to have one caregiver, or one or a group of caregivers that are going to take care of you in your own home, it's really like one-on-one care, right? So as opposed to going to an assisted living community or a nursing home where you could be one of multiple residents or multiple patients that live there. So that's kind of the difference. I mean, that's multiple other differences, but that's the cost of care if you want to, stay in your own home. But there's so many other things about it. I know you can kind of go on and on about this
Yeah,
too, just like
yeah,
I
we would have
can,
a
but
totally different podcast just to talk about that.
it is,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so would you say like your own experiences, not only just taking care of your parents, but also just your own personal growth life experience has given you a lot of different perspectives when it comes to running your business and caring for um the clients?
Yeah, in every way. I mean, there is, I would say, well, I mean, from a business standpoint, there's definitely a lot of empathy. I mean, you realize that you're taking care of a very vulnerable population, and that either still have a lot to offer or did have a lot to offer at one point, and so there's a lot of empathy with that. I mean, we also employ caregivers who are such an essential workforce that are just I think not thanked and given enough gratitude for the type of work that we do. So there's just a lot of gratitude in general, for people, and not just for the people that I care for, but the people that are caring for them too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so when the going gets hard, what is the thing that you tell yourself to get through the challenges in life, whether it's personal or business?
I mean, at this point, and then you can probably relate to this, but I mean, really, it's about my girls, I mean, it's just about my daughters, and like now it's everything that I'm doing is really for them, whether it's for, whether it's just handling them and their needs, but just making sure that my husband Gabriel and I are getting them set up, that we're doing everything that we can to be good parents, to set them up financially for the future. I mean, all of the things that we do as parents, hoping that we're not, I don't know, you think about, you always doubt yourself sometime about some of the decisions you make, and like, hopefully you're
you
not
never know.
right. Gosh, I
That's
hope
the
I'm not messing up
challenge.
my kids. Like, hopefully this is the right decision, all of those things. But really now, I mean, like every decision I make now is just for them.
Mhm. So let me ask you, what is your definition of a strong mom?
Oh gosh, it's such a hard one. I think that it's such a hard question to answer because I think that as moms, we're already like the epitome of strength, and I guess I can just answer that just with my own personal experience is that because I did have such a strong mom, I had such an excellent role model for motherhood. Um, my I just go back to all of the things that my mom did for me, I mean, my mom came from another country, came to be, we have that typical kind of immigrant story.
Mm.
So, coming from another country and just doing whatever you can to make it for your children. And so that's what I'm trying to do now for my kids. I don't really know if I can give a complete definition. I just know I'm just trying to, as mothers, we just do the best we can. And
That's
that's
all you
strength in
can do.
itself.
Just stay in the moment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much, Christine, for sharing your stories. And can you tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you if they need your service?
Sure. Yeah, they can find me on our website, which is casacompanionhomecare.com. And and you have all my contact information. I'm not sure if you're going to link to that or not,
Yeah,
but
I'll have that all linked at the chat box beneath the podcast. Mhm.
wonderful. Good. Well, thank you so much. I really had fun. Thank you for inviting me to do the show.
You're so welcome. It's so good to have you. Talk to you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Ask Mama Amy. Head over to AskMamaAmy.com for all the show notes and links you heard in today's episode. You'll also get my free legal tool for you to name legal guardians for your children so that you can leave them with abundant resources to support them and a total peace of mind. If you liked today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review to tell us why. See you next time, mamas!